Hello students. Myself Vishwajit Yadav, and I'm a faculty of philosophy optional in level of IS. In this particular group, you might have seen we have got a lot of questions also, but personally also many people contacted me about philosophy optional and things like that. So what I thought is let's have a small video and I will explain what my basic understanding for you, which is a very basic for your understanding. Most of the people in the group are like those who are going to attempt their like first attempt will be 2021, so they have time, and perhaps this is the right time to start the preparation. Some of you already have studied philosophies, most of you are not, but you are actually interested and willing. So I thought, okay, let's come back to you with some basic understanding of the optional and topic and things like that, and how it may impact you, how it will certainly help you to decide how to go about it. And yes, further questions after this video, if you have, you can put it on the group or you can contact me personally. I'm also part of the group. So let's start from the start. So philosophy. Okay, so first understand very briefly what it means. Philo means love. You might have heard philanthropy, philately. So philo means love or inclination towards or positive attitude towards, that is philo. Sophy is knowledge. From this word only sophisticated word has come. Sophy means knowledge or something which is complicated, something which is sophisticated, that is knowledge. Knowledge means your insight. So Sophy can mean insight also. It has some link with word sapien also. Sapien means again somebody who has brains. So philosophy means actually love for knowledge. But I'd like to tell you one thing. Philosophy, okay, basically is more of approach than you can say subject. Yes, to grasp this approach, you study it in the form of subject and reach here. But philosophy basically is an approach. This is the way you look at the world and things. You might have seen, like anybody who has done any expertise in any specific field, be it medicine, be it humanities, be it in history, geography, whichever way, whichever topic, when he or she has done the expertise on it, we'll call it PhD. What is PhD? Doctorate of Philosophy. Now, PhD economy. Now, what is doctorate of philosophy in economy? Means he has acquired that approach of love for the knowledge in economy. So, philosophy is more of a knowledge, more of an approach towards that particular thing. It's more of the way you go for that particular thing, whichever topic you are actually talking about. Why I am explaining this is very important when it comes to the optional philosophy, because in optional philosophy also, it seems like it's a typical subject. Why? Because this also has books, this also has exam, this also has questions and answers and marks. But actually, once you go through the topic, once you go through the subject, we call it subject for sake of convenience, we understand it is more of approach or attitude, or rather orientation of brain or bent of mind. So philosophy needs these things. In optional also you need these things. Okay. So this is what philosophy means. This is overall what optional asks you. Another thing about optional is, now every optional in UPSC has some peculiar characteristics. Philosophy also has. And as far as its preparation is concerned, see, every optional has one is understand. I'm talking about the sequence of preparation. Okay, understanding, then practice, or rather I would say for mugging it up, mugging it or mugging up, I would say, then practice. So every optional or every topic asks you to understand, asks you to mug something or by heart something and practice. In philosophy, this is the most time consuming but most crucial of all. In fact, more crucial than this, understanding. You need to understand each and every term philosophically. I will explain you what philosophically means, but you need to understand. Another thing is it is called as a dead subject. Now dead means it's not negative. Dead means nothing new or nothing that comes in current affairs or things like the modern happening, contemporary happening. You are not actually required to much use it in your paper, especially paper 1, philosophy paper 1. You are actually required to stick to what the thinker said in your own understanding, but what thinkers actually said, not your own philosophy. But not your own philosophy is not a discouraging statement. Unless you have the bent of mind, you cannot understand somebody's philosophy. So, and if somebody has a bent of mind of philosophy, certainly will have some philosophy of his or her own. But point is, you are required to actually go through the philosophy of the philosophers. So this is mota, this is what is required for the philosophy. But okay, and it's very interesting topic. So now as far as syllabus is concerned, okay, syllabus or philosophy is divided into paper 2 as it is case in others, like paper 1 and philosophy paper 2. Now paper 1 is Western philosophy, section 1, this is section 1, and section 2 is Indian philosophy. Paper 2, the section 1 is socio-political philosophy and section 2 is philosophy of religion. I think most of you would be actually finding it very interesting, because it is very interesting. Okay, I'll talk about how it will help in general. Okay, now Western philosophy, like for example, they talk about Plato, okay, Aristotle, Kant, rationalists, empiricists, okay, existentialists, Sartre and Kierkegaard and all, then phenomenology, then logical atomism, logical positivism. Okay, so this is particularly perhaps a little tougher of all the topics, tough to understand. Once you understand this, you know, your marks of philosophy are kind of guaranteed to you. Okay, 300 plus marks I'm talking about. Indian, it is talking about total 9 schools plus 1 fellow, that is Aurobindo, Maharshi Aurobindo's integral yoga. So what are these 9? 3 Nastik, that is Charvak, Buddha, Jain, and rest 6 are Nyaya Vaisheshik, Sankhya Yoga and Mimamsa Vedanta. This actually why I said these two, because they are brothers. They are like coupled always. Nyaya is always coupled to Vaisheshik, Sankhya with Vedanta, Sankhya with Yoga, and Mimamsa with Vedanta. In fact, Vedanta is called Uttar Mimamsa, Mimamsa is called Pur Mimamsa. There is another. Anyway, so this is how, this is Indian philosophy, this is Western philosophy. Socio-political philosophy is very familiar to you. In fact, the easiest of the topic is they talk about justice, equality, liberty, fraternity. फिर Gandhi's philosophy, Ambedkar's philosophy, women empowerment, gender issues, then punishment, capital punishment वगैरह issues, social progress, development, but philosophical understanding. And philosophy of religion, you know what they will be talking about? God है या नहीं है, and proper arguments by the philosophers and the thinkers from Plato. The arguments here will be covered. God है या नहीं है, there are proof for the existence of the God, logical proofs, empirical proofs, deontological proofs, ontological proofs, like that, ethical proofs. So God है नहीं है, वो वाला पूरा concept, and what is religion. So this is how the whole syllabus looks like, of which this is the toughest one, this is the easiest one. This is kind of, it needs a lot of first understanding and then practice, but this is very familiar to us, so it will not take much time. This particular thing is very important. I will also suggest one basic book for your reference. For Western philosophy, there is a book called Y. Massey with the same name, Introduction to Western Philosophy. Indian philosophy, there is a book, Introduction to Indian Philosophy by Datta and Chatterjee. Okay, and for socio-political philosophy, there is a book with the same name, actually tailor-made for this optional by Mr. O.P. Guaba. And philosophy of religion, the book is again by the same fellow, Y. Massey. Now I can tell you one thing, this not a whole book, only 60% of the book is topic, syllabus related. This is 100%, not 100 but at least 95%. Some topics are there which are not required, 95%. Okay, Dattan Chatterjee, this is 100%. Okay, and this is again around 70%. Point is, 60% of the book is according to the topic, so you have to read only that much. 95% you have to read almost whole of the book. Same is the case here. Here 70% only. Now there are some additional books also, but I would not like you to get bombarded with it. There are like notes by IGNOU notes. ठीक है, बहुत काम की चीज़ है. ठीक, every topic there are notes. There are some notes available outside also, like very comprehensive, and we will also provide our own notes, because those who will join our classroom thing, we will provide classroom notes. Okay, another yes, so this is particularly how the materialist thing. Okay, material. Now we will talk about, okay, this particular question was asked almost by everyone as to why or what are the benefits. So I would say, why philosophy optional? Obviously, why? One, perhaps it is the shortest. Means to cover also it only needs 90 days for lectures. And if you actually, because it is dead subject, it's a limited thing, it's not changing, it's like fixed, you can revise it so many times. The complete syllabus can be revised, or rather must be revised at least 20 times before the actual exam, and it is very much possible because every subsequent revision takes lesser time. So it is the shortest. Okay. Second, it helps in ethics. It helps in ethics with respect to your understanding of things, because the perspective is already built. Essay, interview, and generally also because your vocab and your approach becomes more analytical. Now, ethics I told you, because in fact if you take the theory part, half of it is philosophy only. what is conscience, what is morality, what Kant said, what Gandhi said, what moral thinkers and philosophers. So most of it will be, if not covered, but will be very easy for you to cover. Essay, because philosophical essays also come. Only two kinds of people can go for philosophical, generally go for philosophical optional, philosophical essay. Is the one who has optional philosophy and confidence. Second, who has philosophical bent of mind, but somehow by mistake did not take the philosophy as optional because of some other reasons, but bent of mind philosophical है. तो दो ही लोग लेते हैं, generally people don't dare. But generally what happens, UPSC is also now trying to become smart. वो दो ऐसे देते हैं कि एक philosophical choose करना ही पड़ता है, because philosophical essay is not just philosophy, it is about your deeper understanding of things, how you analyze, how you put things down, because logic is a very important concept in philosophy. Logic, very, very important. See, if somebody who is a student of philosophy, a genuine student of philosophy, will never defy logic. It will be very difficult for him to digest his own arguments if it is defying logic. So you become more logical, analytical anyway. Interview, it helps because same, you become logical, analytical. Your words mean deeper meanings in things rather than superficial ones. So it actually appeals to the interview panel. Second, you actually can have holistic view of things because of your anyway training of mind accordingly. So it helps in interview, okay, and it helps in other parts of the examination because your vocab and approach anyway improves. So that's how it will help in your rest of the preparation. Okay, now it helps in life also in a way, because I'll tell you, most of the questions that you have, philosophical questions, and I will always want you to give the attention or enough room for you to think about philosophical questions that you have. You should not just keep it under the brush, under the carpet. And thing is, if you actually study your life the way, see, you might have seen that quote, "Unexamined life is not worth living" by Socrates. That was part of paper 4, I think 2019. This is exactly how to examine life. Tools of philosophy is the best. They will ask you about what are you, what is personality mean, what are emotion mean, how why you behave the way you are behaving, what exactly emotional intelligence can mean and how it can be achieved, how spiritual intelligence, spiritual quotient is there and how it can be achieved. Your understanding of things will become very broad, which always helps in life. So it helps, and it always helps when you go and speak. See, if somebody throws at you Plato and Aristotle and Russell and Heidegger and Sartre and Kierkegaard, these kind of names, or even Vedanta and Aurobindo, Buddha, Jain, Mahavir and all, they said this and that in abstract terms, you will not be uncomfortable. You will be very well giving it back because you also read it. So it gives a lot of confidence in terms of these things, like whenever you are required to be there, it required to be up to the mark of the demand of the things. And interview mein, one more thing, all the panelists are generally older people than us, so senior people than us. They generally have some other philosopher they would have read for sure in their career time. It happens because it always helps. If not anything, they would have they would have gone through Bhagavad Gita or Quran or whichever they think it is important, but they certainly would have gone. They would have at least searched about what are the contents of Mundaka Upanishad philosophically, not a matter of GS, philosophically, and how it means to me in my life. So it helps. Second, philosophy optional actually forces you to think personally, because this is exactly what my questions were, and that helps in ethics. Because when you read something in book, we generally are not habitual to actually apply it in our own life. We just take it as data and put it in paper. So we bypass us. But in ethics, it's not useful. It's not enough. You cannot bypass yourself. You have to put those things through you only on the paper. So it helps. Okay. So it helps in life in a very, very big way. As we discussed, it saves a lot of time. It helps in the sense of other UPSC exam issues, and it helps in life also, and obviously it will make you more confident. Okay, so one should certainly go for this philosophical thing. Only thing that I would like to also discuss with this is that who should not, who must not go for philosophy optional. One who is afraid of afraid of vocab, or I would say vocabulary, or I would say concepts, abstract concept, I would say. Okay. And second, who thinks philosophy is bullshit. Sorry to use this word, but who anyway thinks that philosophy is all just hawa, nothing depth is there. Anyway, he has to he will has to compromise so much marks in ethics because of that point of view. But otherwise, anybody can go for it. It is very small topic, very small syllabus, and you can actually go through the syllabus 20 times before the examination. You can be so sure about that you have covered almost everything, and as to the start and the end of the topic. You can clearly say that I have covered this topic, there is nothing left, there is nothing new coming from outside. So it gives a lot of confidence. So this is the thing. Now only briefly I would talk about the syllabus only, but in a different way. I would like to tell you one interesting thing is here the whole of philosophy. I am talking about paper 1. See, by the way, paper 1 is the philosophy. Paper 1 is the real philosophy or first basic philosophy. Second is more of an application, but paper 1 is the most important thing. All the philosophers only try to do two things. I'll tell you. We talked about philosophy. Sophy means, that means everybody is talking about what? Knowledge. So they will talk about knowledge, right? So philosophy optional is all about knowledge. Yes, but knowledge of what? See, the whole of philosophy of paper 1 optional can be divided into two things. Either they will talk about first thing or they will talk about the second thing, and there is nothing more to it. There is no third thing they talk about. I'll tell you how. One is, now you have a bent of mind of philosopher and you want to think on knowledge. So first thing that you will think of knowledge is, what is knowledge, how it happens, when can we say that knowledge happened. So you're talking about the process of knowledge. For example, now there is a table. So I have a knowledge of a table, that there is a table, but this is knowledge of table. I am talking about how this knowledge happened, why this knowledge happened, and when should I say that knowledge happened. See, generally when we say knowledge, we talk about knowledge of something, like knowledge of history, knowledge of chemistry, like that, knowledge of parliament, knowledge of his freedom movement, like that, knowledge of. But the point is, and similarly knowledge of table, chair, water, camera, knowledge of. But we are talking about what is that knowledge, means how that knowledge happened. Knowledge might be of anything. I might be talking about the table, chair and water and computer, or whatever I was talking about. These are the things of which we are talking about the knowledge. But what is that knowledge? When should we say that knowledge happens? Okay, I'll tell you the brief thing. For any knowledge to happen, there has to be object, there has to be subject, and there has to be, you say, connection or communication. I would say communication. Object, for example, tree, and subject is the one who is knowing. So when a man or woman sees a tree, he has a knowledge of tree. Okay, this is communication or connection. Okay, through eyes. Now, which instrument he used, that's another story. If there is some tasty food is there, he will use tongue. If there is a song, he will use this. But he has a knowledge of tree. Here, tree is object, and the one who is knowing it is subject. So, what to know and who will know, or we would say knowledge of and knowledge by. And I'll tell you a very interesting thing here. From this understanding, or this is the basic premises on which everything, this is approved premises, that you need object, you need subject, you need communication. Otherwise, without these three things, no knowledge can happen. So, knowledge happens, and from there the concept of objective and subjective came. Objective and subjective. What does it mean? Now we know subjective means depends on the subject, subject wise. Okay, it is it is dependent on the process subject is doing. That's why it is subjective, and it depends, it changes according to the subject. Objective means depends on object. It is not dependent on subject, it is objective. For example, this is tree is green, is objective knowledge. It is green not just for him, it is green for everyone. Whoever is not having color blindness, see, tree is green, tree is green, tree is green. So, green, tree being green is a objective knowledge. Okay, but this particular tree is refreshing, or this particular tree is nostalgic, or to some extent this tree is small or big, these relative terms, these are subjective. Or rather, this tree is good or bad, this is subjective. So, the tree being good or refreshing or nostalgic or small is a subjective interpretation. It's not dependent on object. Object is there, the person is actually interpreting it in his own way. Obviously, it needs some data from the tree, but the feeling and the conception and the things from the subject is added to it, so it becomes subjective opinion. Objective means it is objective, it is same for all. There is another definition given by Kant. The proposition is objective if it is same for all subjective experiences. Like if everybody says subjectively in a same way, everybody thinks it is green, then tree being green is an objective opinion, objective argument. But tree is refreshing is a subjective argument. So, this is how the process of knowledge happens. This is just a small brief thing, that's a glimpse that I wanted you to go through. So, point is, philosophy paper 1 talks about knowledge, what, how, when. So, this process of knowledge they talk about. They are not talking about knowledge of history, chemistry, biology. No, they are talking about, or they are also not talking about how knowledge happens here. This is psychology. They are talking about this process, which includes psychology, but here they are mainly talking about why, how, and whether it is true, false, when it is a true knowledge, when it is a false knowledge. This is what they talk about. Now, this called theory of knowledge. Or it is called epistemology. Jnana Shastra, epistemology, theory of knowledge, means this particular theory, and every philosopher has his or her theory of knowledge, means his or her epistemology, where they say as to what is knowledge, how it happens, and when can we say knowledge happened, and what can be known. Because it's like knowledge is like a binocular. instrument to know something. Now on the basis of the structure of the binocular, the reality is projected to you. So on the basis of this theory of knowledge, your reality of knowledge comes. Sorry, your knowledge of reality comes. Ultimately, philosophers are worried about reality. What is real, what is not real, what is world, what is not world. So when they actually started questioning this, they realized that they should first confirm logically as to what is knowledge, and then we will understand what can be known, and whatever can be known is the reality. So they talk about, through theory of knowledge, they travel to theory of reality. Okay, they go to theory of reality, and this is called metaphysics. So the whole of philosophers in the syllabus that we have, take example of Plato or Charvak. So first they will have their epistemology, their theory of knowledge, कि भाई देखो नॉलेज ये चीज़ों से होता है, ये चीज़ों का नॉलेज ट्रू होता है, ये चीज़ों का नॉलेज फॉल्स होता है. सो मेरा नॉलेज का इंस्ट्रूमेंट ये है. And now they go with this instrument and apply it to the reality to know the reality, and they will create their own theory of reality on the basis of that knowledge, instrument of knowledge, epistemology, that is called metaphysics. So every thinker has his or her epistemology, followed by, dependent on, logically to metaphysics, and epistemology to metaphysics. This journey is only done through logic. So that's why logic is very important in philosophy. In fact, prior to 2011, when optional also used to be part of preliminary examination, yes, pre में भी optional होते थे, जिसमें objective ABCD optional के questions आते थे, जिसमें philosophy optional पे सभी questions logic के रहते थे. Like if A is equal to B, B is equal to C, and A is equal to C, syllogism, all cats are dogs, वो वाला same. And if this particular statement indicates this, then logically conclude this, like that used to be the part. So logic is very important. So this is what the whole philosophy optional is. First epistemology, then apply logic and read to metaphysics. So first I will tell what knowledge according to me, and then I will tell what reality according to me, according to the thinker. And then comes the, one thinker comes, philosopher comes, then another philosopher criticizes, improves, gives another point of view. So you will have so many different views that you would be so tolerant about any view, because every view has some assumption which may or may not be true. You cannot decide anything about it. So this is very briefly how the paper 1, which is the most crucial of the philosophy optional, goes. And there are many more actually topics, but I wanted to keep this video very small, so I am trying to stop here. But any questions you have, you please ask me in the group, and we'll see how it goes forward. And I hope that most of you actually go for this optional and try your intellectual and philosophical abilities, test your philosophical abilities, and certainly get 300 plus marks in your optional. Okay, thank you.
Hit the bell icon to never miss an update from Level Up IAS. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.